guys, Izzy here again. Welcome to part one of my two-part live series on sneaky fall and winter foods. Let's just check the right microphones on. As we now know from yesterday's video, after you eat or drink too much sugar, it will strain your immune system cells, and that would normally attack bacteria, leading to flu, tiredness, and general lack of healthy vibes in your body. And today we're going to start battling the seasonal sugar trap by going over the 6 worst food culprits hiding sugar during the fall and winter season that seem to be healthier choices during the holidays. A big problem for people is that they end up eating way too much sugar without realizing it, and it's especially true during this time of year. So let's get busting some fall foods. Food number 1, soups. Most soups are fantastic for your well-being. They're packed with veggies, herbs, and they have a ton of nutrients. But the problem is that a lot of soups have sneakily, especially packaged soups, have a lot of hidden sneaky sugar added in the broth or added while the vegetables are being cooked down. A big culprit of this is tomato soup, especially. Which tends to have a lot of sugar to balance out the acidity of the tomato. For example, Campbell's condensed tomato soup's second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. Disgusting, right? What you should do instead is that if you're at a restaurant, make sure you ask your waiter which soups have added sugar. Go ahead and ask your friends if you're at a friend's house too. And even better, you can make that soup at home, which means that you have complete control over what's going into your soup. Number 2, festive coffee drinks. Now, this one is a big one. Everyone loves a good festive holiday drink. Gingerbread latte, pumpkin spice. I love caramel creme brulee. And especially during the chillier months, this is kind of like one of our favorite drinks to have. So, but a lot of us don't think about how much sugar and how many calories there are in a cup. I mean, it's just a cup of like spice and coffee, right? Unfortunately, no. For example, 2% pumpkin spice creme grande topped with whipped cream has 400 calories and 52 grams of added sugar. That's twice the amount of added sugar that you should have as a female on a given day. Crazy, right? Instead, I've written a blog post called Easy Tips for Ordering Low Calorie and Low Sugar Holiday Drinks, in which I've figured out how you can drink smart and knock off a ton of empty calories and sugar in your festive drinks so you can still keep them delightful and keep that flavor. You can head on over to my blog and read that article. I've put the link in the description. Also, I've added a link to my pumpkin spice latte recipe. It's completely sugar-free and it tastes amazing. So you can check that out in the description as well. And it even has some vegan options for you guys. Sorry. All right, food culprit number 3, sweet potato and pumpkin pies. Pumpkin pie is a seasonal favorite, and some people who want to eat healthier or just generally like the flavor will also have a sweet potato pie instead, because I think that's lower in sugar because the sweet potatoes are not more naturally sweet, and that the sweet potatoes' health benefits will make up the added sugar in the pie. But it's simply not true. Sweet potato pie is still packed with sugar, and it ruins any health benefit you may have originally got from choosing the sweet potato. Instead, enjoy pie as a treat or opt for a smaller slice. You can also make your own healthier version of the pie as well. Since both pumpkins and sweet potatoes have a naturally sweeter taste, you can actually pretty easily make your own refined sugar, sugar-free, or low-sugar version of the pie without much hassle that still tastes pretty good and seasonal. Food number 4, seasonal breads. We all love a good old-fashioned slice of bread. There are a lot of pumpkin spice, cinnamon swirl breads around this time of year, and I mean, who doesn't love to sort of bake them up and have that smell sort of and the aroma through the house during the season? But the problem is that a lot of these breads have a lot of sugar, especially brown sugar, because it's a very seasonal sort of evocative flavor that you'll love. But the problem is that sugar is the content is usually really high, especially if you're opting for a store-bought bread. So instead, try to easily bake your own at home, like pumpkin spice bread, cinnamon swirl bread. You can do that without sugar or by using something like honey or even a maple if you're sort of not going if you're only going refined sugar-free. Or if you want to buy it from the store, you can have a look and check the label to make sure that the sugar content isn't too high, and that will spike your blood sugar a ton. If you're at like a little cafe like Starbucks or something like that, and you really want something to go along with your coffee, you can go ahead and buy a plain piece of bread and then use sliced apples and cinnamon as a topper to sort of recreate that flavor, so to speak. The natural carb in the bread is actually quite sweet, and you have the apple, and actually tastes pretty good as well. So food number 5, and this one's actually a drink. This is cider drinks. Apples are the name of the game this season. If you haven't already noticed, they're everywhere. And what says more holidays than apple cider drinks? Apple cider drinks in and of themselves are actually pretty healthy, especially when they have added spices to them. It's quite they have quite a few nutrients, but the problem arises when we add maple syrup, brown sugar, and wine to it, all of which are pretty high in sugar. So you may be wondering again why I bring up maple syrup when I just spoke about maple syrup inside of the breads. And the reason for this is that although maple does contain nutrients, it's still pretty high on the glycemic index, making it something to avoid, especially in a drink, because the sugar is more directly negatively affects your body when you consume it through a liquid form. So that's something you want to avoid. What you should do instead is go ahead and find a recipe that has no sugar for your cider, or if you're out, go ahead and ask the waiter if they've added sugar. And if they have, go ahead and just moderate. It's okay to have like a little cup, but just don't keep drinking a ton of cider. Food number 6, last one, we have glazed veggies and meat. Whether you're vegan, vegetarian, or a carnivore, I'm sure you're used to, or you've used, or have eaten a marinated roast veggie or meat during a seasonal meal. The salt and oil are the 2 basic ingredients to any marinade, but many people add, especially brown sugar, during this season as a sort of festive flavor booster to sort of balance the spices. Everyone likes a little bit of sweetness. Instead, you should opt for a plainer cooked meat or plainer cooked veggies. And if you can't find anything, make sure to moderate again. And if you like to cook, why not offer to make your own marinade and bring it to your holiday party, making sure not to add any sugar. Okay, so those are my first 6 sneaky hidden sugar foods and solutions for today. If you have any seasonal favorites, go ahead and type them in the comments and I can answer them live right now. Or if you're watching later on, which you probably are, you can go ahead and type them in the comments anyway, and I will get back to you on them as soon as I can. I'll be back tomorrow with more sneaky foods, and don't forget to tune in on Friday where I'll talk about lowering food and sugar consumption naturally through food intuition. Also, don't forget to check out and join the 5-day Autumn and Sugar Wellness Challenge for more help and support on cutting those sweet and savory cravings. Again, all of the links to everything I mentioned are in the description above or below, depending on where you're watching. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.